I wasn't lazy. I was scared. I used to think I just wasn't that creative. Like, some people had it, some people didn't. And I was just one of those people that had a lot of ideas, but just didn't have what it took to have the output. And I told myself this a lot, but that wasn't the case. Here's what was actually happening. I get an idea, something I really enjoyed, something I really was passionate about, became obsessed with it. I think about it first thing in the morning, on the way to work, at work, right before I fell asleep. It gave me so much energy, it motivated me so much. And then I go to make it, and something will happen. Start a blank page, start a new project, create a new folder, and it just didn't. Nothing happened. I would check something else, do something easier, find something else to do, find something that required, find a reason to not pursue that idea. Tell myself I will come back to it. Tell myself that I needed to check these boxes before I would do it. Tell myself I needed to revamp something, I needed to reorganize something, I needed to redo something. Or when I had more time, I needed the perfect day to just lock in. That day never came. I needed certain materials to get it done. I never got those materials. I needed to feel a way. That feeling never came. Or I needed to think about it more for it to become a better idea. That better idea never came. And the later just kept moving further and further away. But this is a part that really gets me, because sometimes I would actually start. I would open it up, I would set the framework, I would set the scene, I would start step one. But that was it. It just didn't feel right. It just didn't look right. It just didn't seem like it was what I envisioned. So I stopped. I would stop, scrap it, and start over. Something fresh, something new. New angle, new perspective. Version 2, version 3. This version was going to be the right one. This was going to be that idea. This was going to be the perfect one this time. And then the same thing would happen again. The feeling wasn't right. I hyperfixated on a detail, on an imperfection, scrapped it, start over. Scrapped it, start over. Brainstorm new ideas, scrapped it, just to start over. I was always at zero, always at the beginning. I was putting in so much time and getting nowhere because I kept resetting and starting over. I mistook starting over for making progress, when in actuality, starting over is just active procrastination. I have notes I never opened. I have folders I never went back to. I have documents that have collected dust on my hard drives. I have files that I bought from other creators that I was going to use for certain things that have never been opened and sit in the archives of my many folders. A graveyard of things that I was once passionate about, things that I once obsessed over, things that I once cared for. And the thing is, the longer that it took for me to get started, the harder that it became to get started. Because at this point, it's not an idea. It's just another thing on the to-do list of things that you've been putting off. And that in itself has its own weight to carry. It took me way too long to figure out what was going on. It wasn't laziness, because lazy people don't lie awake at night thinking about ideas and researching these things and making certain ideas and desires the focal point of your life. This was something, or these were things that I was constantly thinking about. It was fear. Specifically, it was fear that I wouldn't be able to produce the very thing that I thought of, the idea in my head. Because in my head, it's perfect. It's exactly what I want it to be. And the very second that I started doing it, there was a chance, there was a risk that it wouldn't come out the way that I envisioned in my head. I had to take a risk of the imperfections. I had to take a risk that it might not be as good as I thought it would be, of it being average, of it being mediocre. Actually going through the whole process of creating something and then looking back and saying, yeah, that wasn't good. And that's just a risk that I was very scared to take. The thing is, procrastination is just perfection dressed up. It let me protect an idea without ever testing it, never putting it in front of somebody, never seeing if it actually would land. The problem is you can't get good at something that you never finish or start, rather. Creativity isn't a talent, it's a muscle. And I was doing everything except actually working that muscle. What changed wasn't actually anything mind-blowing. It wasn't a new productivity system. It wasn't a new morning routine or even a book. It was just making a decision to finish a thing. It was making a decision that finishing a thing, whether it be perfect or not, was more important than perfecting a thing that didn't exist. That version of me that was willing to ship something that's imperfect was way better off than the version of me that would not ship anything because it wasn't perfect. So I started letting things be done before they were actually done. I started treating the first version as if it was the point, not the problem. And the crazy thing about it is, the more I started to finish things, the less precious these things felt. The easier it was to start the next thing. It turns out I actually wasn't lazy or a huge procrastinator. I just held on to things way too tight. So, note to self, the idea in your head isn't its safest there. It's just invisible. And invisible doesn't mean safe. Invisible means gone. Make the thing. Make it badly if you have to, but make it. Let it be rough. Let it be unfinished. Let it be not exactly how you imagine. Because the version of you that tried is always going to be ahead of the version of you that waited. So, you weren't lazy. You were scared. And that's human. So make it anyway.